Hello everyone and welcome back to the Bantamweight Boxing YouTube channel with me, your host, Michael Whyte. I hope everyone's had a good week so far. Thought I'd make a quick boxing video. Was just scrolling through Boxing News 24, a site that I spend pretty much my whole life on. And there was an article on there about Dillian Whyte and AJ about potentially doing the rematch from Eddie Hearn. So I thought I'd make a video on that because those two are probably, two of my favourite fighters really of this kind of era. Dillian Whyte for being just his overall character. Like, he's just the funniest boxer I think I've ever listened to in interviews and with Coogan. But AJ, because he really pioneered British boxing and really, in my lifetime, it's the first time I've seen, people from all walks in England talking about boxing, talking about AJ. Oh, I'm watching the AJ fight tonight. Oh, and really putting boxing up there with, the likes of football and rugby in England. So, I've got love for both of them for different reasons. So yeah, about the article. So it's actually talking about potentially, the article came from an interview with Eddie Hearn, and Eddie Hearn was saying he would like to make the AJ versus Dillian Whyte rematch in August as a kind of, he didn't phrase it like this, but he's basically saying as a warm-up fight for AJ for his big clash in Saudi Arabia against Deontay Wilder. And I was reading the article, and for the first time in a while, I really agreed with Eddie Hearn. I thought that rematch is the perfect fight for AJ to take to warm up for Wilder. I just feel that AJ would feel confident he could beat Dillian Whyte, but at the same time, it would test AJ enough to kind of really tune him up for this Wilder fight. I'm under the impression, and I'm in that group right now who feels this AJ, if he goes into the Wilder fight without another tune-up fight, without really waking up that dog in him, I see Wilder smoking him, really. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I see Wilder knocking him out. Watching AJ in that Franklin fight, too cautious, not enough confidence, and just, not really playing to his strengths. Like, I suppose he did well and got the points decision, but it's not AJ at his best. AJ at his best is a killer, and that is not what we saw in the ring against Franklin. We saw someone very cautious and very concerned about being hit, really. So I feel he needs another fight to A, get used to his new trainer, spend a bit more time with him, but B, to really ignite that dog in him again. And there's no other fighter in the world, or in the heavyweight division, should I say, who's going to bring that out in AJ like Dillian Whyte will. I think Dillian Whyte is a perfect fight because he's a winnable fight and one they'd feel confident beating, but he's going to cause AJ problems, and he's going to, he's not going to stand in the ring like Franklin and be happy with a decision win. He'll go out there and try and knock AJ out, and he himself will feel an element of confidence that he can do that. He knows he's hurt AJ before in their first fight, so he knows if he lands that left hook, he could cause AJ some serious problems. So he'll come out there and he'll fight, and he'll bring the fight to AJ, which I feel will kind of force AJ into a bit of a war, and as a result, force him to really bite down in the gum shield and get Dillian Whyte out of there. And it's as simple as that. That's what AJ needs. He needs a knockout. He needs a knockout for the fans, for himself, from a mental perspective. I think that's what he needs. I think sometimes you can overcomplicate sports and different elements, but I think sometimes it boils down to the simplicities that AJ was, a monster built on fear and steamrolling opponents and stuff like that. And he tried to alter his style and become a bit more of a boxer and stuff like that, which he did okay at. But as soon as he got in with another real boxer, which was Usyk, he was found out. He couldn't fake being a boxer for much longer. He needed to go back to his style, and everyone has an innate style. Some are nicer than others. Some are sluggers. Some are super technical boxers. And I think AJ, it was good to see he's honed those kind of boxing skills but ultimately he's a steam train. He's a machine built, like a freak. He's massive. And I think he needs to go back to that. And I think Dillian Whyte will draw that out from him. So yeah, I think it's a great fight. I think from AJ's perspective, I think it's a great fight for prepping him for Wilder. I think from Dillian Whyte, it's the biggest fight he can have right now, financially and just in every aspect. I think, Dillian Whyte, I think he can kiss goodbye the chances of winning a world title. After he got taken to primary school by Tyson Fury, that's kind of off the cards now. So he's in the sport at 35 now to secure the bag as well. So fighting AJ, I think is the right move for him. I think for the fans, me personally, that's I can give my 2 cents on it. I like the fight. From a fan's perspective, I think it's an exciting fight. They've got bad blood. Well, not bad blood, but they've got a history together. We've seen the first one. The first one was entertaining. Stylistically, I think the second one will also be entertaining. It's a big British, clash. Could see it happening in the O2 or something like that. They could push for Wembley potentially. I think that's going to be a bit of a push after Dillian Whyte's kind of last performances, and AJ's really. But I still think it's a fight that gets the fans excited. It's still one I check the date of, and I'll make sure I get the pay-per-view for that. I'd pay, I still pay for that for sure. So I think it's a good fight for the fans. But yeah, so I completely agree with Eddie Hearn. I think it's a good move to make. I don't often agree with Eddie Hearn, but in this scenario, I do. My only concern is just about this kind of all this talk about a potential summer fight, and also talking about Wilder in December. It just screams to me of risky business. Like, in a fairy tale world, we see AJ versus Whyte in August. AJ knocks him out in 4 rounds, and then they make the fight in December for Deontay Wilder. But this is heavyweight boxing, and it just doesn't always play out like that. Not even just in heavyweight boxing, but in boxing in general. I feel like as soon as a fighter and his team are looking two fights ahead, it rings alarm bells to me. How can you be talking about potential fight with Dillian Whyte, but you're also in contract negotiations with Deontay Wilder for a fight afterwards? It just, you've got to have your head focused on one thing. Either, forget about the August fight or the summer fight, which I do think AJ needs, but either forget about that and just go for the December fight against Wilder, or stop talking about Wilder, put that on the kind of back burner, and organise this fight with Whyte or whoever it's going to be in the summer. Focus on that, train for that, win that, and then we can start looking at, potentially fighting Deontay Wilder. I just can see, a banana skin getting thrown into the mix here of either Wilder losing before the Saudi Arabia fight, or AJ losing, or, it just a lot of risks there. So, it'd be interesting to see what happens. That's my take on it. Completely agree with Eddie Hearn. Let me see, let me hear your thoughts in the comments. So on the article, the guy was completely slagging off Eddie Hearn, saying it's a terrible fight and no one wants to see it. But I disagree. I think it's a good one. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. What should AJ do next? And do like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Have a nice rest of the day. Ciao.